Today I'm going to talk about body image disorders. And for full disclosure, I don't believe I've ever suffered from a body image disorder. If I did, I was like the guy that thought he looked a lot better than he really did. Like I'd be on the beach with my beer muscles back in the 90s. And I'm like, yeah, look at me. I'd be like, yeah. And that was me. And, as long as I thought I looked good, I felt pretty good. And I'm always coming from a place of feeling. If you feel good, you'll end up looking good on the outside. Even if you're a bit overweight, bit underweight, whatever. People come in different shapes and sizes. People have different body types. People's muscles shape differently. That's just life. Now, there are a bunch of people who are looking at the fitness world trying to cure some imperfection they visibly see in their body. And I'm going to give you an example of this. About 5 years ago, I'm training 6 women, and they were postpartum. All were new moms. A lot of them had to lose about 20, 30 pounds. Some of them had to lose like 50 pounds to get to a healthy body weight. But one woman who stood out, looked like she was ready for spring break, looked like she could have entered a bikini competition. All the guys would be trying to get her digits, her email, her Facebook, whatever you call it nowadays. She finds one little bit of cellulite, and like all women eventually have cellulite, not much they can do about it. She finds that one little bit of cellulite on the back of her leg, and she's like, what do I got to do to get rid of this? And then like the rest of the women looked like they were going to slap her silly, because that was like the least of their problems. It could have been one of three things with this woman. First thing it could have been, she was just trying to ingratiate herself with the rest of the women, say, hey, look, I got problems too. There's a lot of that goes around. Second thing, it could have been she knew she looked good. She was just pointing out one thing she thought was a flaw, so she'd get a bunch of compliments. Met a few people like that in my life. And the third thing, she really could have thought that was a big problem. And if it's the third thing, that's kind of a body image disorder. And I'm not a big fan of like disorders or classifying thought process, but there's people who get like obsessed about things that are really kind of counterproductive. Like they're already fit, they already look kind of good, and they're just obsessed, like even depressed about some little flaw they see in their body. And there's a certain part of the fitness industry that's out there to exploit that. There are certain trainers out there, and I've seen these guys in gyms that'll get like women in their 20s that are in decent shape, that are already exercising, and they'll approach them like, you got to do something about that bit of fat on your leg or the bit of fat on your butt. And they're trying to make a buck. They're trying to sell a bunch of training sessions. And if this woman feels insecure about this, she might actually be like, oh yeah, you're right. Whereas like me, I'm not. Maybe this is a bad business practice, but I'm just like, hey, if you want to work out with me, that's great. You look like you're at a healthy body fat. Maybe we like just pull off a little or whatever. Not my big avenue of business. Now I know there's like bikini prep coaches, physique coaches, all these guys that do all this stuff. That's a whole world that I'm not part of. Look at me. I'm not going to sell anybody on, bikini prep or whatever. And there's something you need to know about that world. Those women who get in stage shape, they're not having their period. They're not menstruating. They're at very low levels of body fat. And although they make look healthy or look good in magazines, in real life, that's not healthy to like procreation. So, if the world was populated with women in bikini model shape, it would go extinct in a short period of time. Now, besides the women, I'm seeing a growing number of men, a little too preoccupied with what's wrong with them. And I'm going to blame the movie Fight Club with Brad Pitt. And I'm talking the younger generation. I'm talking about guys born after 1980. Because like my generation, we were still kind of like, as long as we looked tough, we looked good. But like that 1980, I started to see a little bit of, the post-1980 kids are a little more like, they're like the metrosexuals and having things look a certain way. And this movie Fight Club came out, and Brad Pitt was like 6 feet tall, 155 pounds, which is kind of skinny. You're lighter than some women when you're 155 pounds that aren't like overweight. But because his body fat was so low, he didn't look all big, but his muscles look all chiseled. And there's these guys, I want that chiseled look. And like start to see guys now, there's more guys with like eating disorders. I get more guys that are like telling me, I want to look like this, or I want to look real slim. And then there was the old school body image disorder, which was the guys that want to look like Superman, or the steroid freaks that you see in Muscle and Fitness. That's a whole other thing. Basically, if you're allocating a lot of your time and you already look a certain way, look pretty good, a lot of your money, there's only so much like a fitness program can do for some types of body fat. Some people go to liposuction, which is fine, but you're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 if that's going to boost your esteem. I still think it's something kind of in your head, but that's just me. But yeah, body image disorders are prevalent. I just try to point out to people that everybody has their flaws, but not the whole fitness business. There's a lot of the fitness business. It's just like you have to look like you have to have like 8-pack abs, or else you're not healthy. So that's just my opinion. What are your opinions? I'll catch you all later.